Hey, hey, hey! Welcome, guys, back to the Musings of Maverick channel. Maverick here, and today we're gonna be watching the grand finale of Kimetsu no Yaiba. At least for this season, right? So, man, it's been honestly, I don't feel like it's been that long, right? 26 episodes. Wow. I feel like I still remember the very first episode where we see Tanjiro, we're introduced to him, we see his family being massacred. Well, not literally see, but we see the remnants of the massacre, his initial face-off with Giyu and whatnot. Man. But, alright, let's not get sentimental here in the introduction, right? We can talk more about that in the review session. Honestly, for this episode, how can it go, right? Well, we know that they're still sort of on their training patterns. Tanjiro has supposedly graduated from his rehab training. Same can't be said for Inosuke or Zenitsu. So perhaps we're going to focus a little bit more on them for this episode. And the way that they've structured this ending of the series, I feel like in order to build hype or to keep the energy or whatnot, they have to sort of bridge it into expecting a next season, right? Of course, nothing is announced yet. As of right now, I haven't checked Twitter yet, but still, I don't believe that they've announced anything yet, but I'm pretty sure that they are going to make a next season, right? Like, it's inevitable, right? It's inevitable. So in order to do that, they would need to end this on a satisfying conclusion, but still make sure that some sort of event or whatnot is still on the horizon, and so that's where we're clearly going to try and go for the next arc, right? So I do believe, at least personally, right? I feel like the best way to end this would probably be for them to finish their training and then learn of some big event or have some big revelation that would lead them to their next mission. Is that going to prove true or not? I don't know. Let's get into the episode to find out. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Holy shiz. Ooh. So I guess Kanao is maybe using... Oh. 10, 10, 10? New mission. There we go. Oh. A few months earlier. Lower 6. Interesting use of CGI with the actual animation, but it actually looks cool, right? I dig it. Lower 2. Lower 3. Lower 4. This is a few months ago, right? Lower 6. Okay. You tell me. But wait, that voice. Yeah. Hmm. Oh, shapeshifting? Okay. I was like, do you have a cross-dressing fetish, Muzan? Hmm. All right. Okay. Because you're weak? He can read your mind, you know. Kill him? No, run. Alright. Bye-bye. That was pretty. Really? Two more left, right? Or three more. Well, actually, four more. Never mind. That's probably also the wrong answer. Quite the egomaniac, aren't you? Now I'm really curious how he treats the upper six. No, you're not dead yet. No. That's a slower one, right? No, he's giving him blood? Okay. Mm. Why is he so obsessed over those earrings? That is a cool ability. Wow. Oh man, I love that scene. Infinite tree. The flame Hashira, right? So is Nezuko coming? Okay. He has to know about the flame breathing, the fire breathing style used by Tanjiro's father. Oh. You guys are from the same class. I think he just stole her heart. Mm. That's her voice? Okay. Oh, okay. I thought they were going to go into like an infinite loop. Just like that. Is he actually going to? And what if it's tails? He had no. Okay, Tanjiro had to have done something there. Oh, really? That works too. Oh! You stole another girl's heart, Tanjiro. Mm. Wow. That was quite quick. Dang. Oh. Okay, so Nezuko is going to stay here. Aw. Is he gonna say goodbye to Shinobu? Hmm. The infinite train. Stop! Yeah, I was like, how come you guys are... I'm pretty sure that in modern... Like, this is in the 1900s, right? I'm pretty sure it's illegal to have swords on you. Just jump on a train? Oh yeah, what was I thinking? She's in the, she's on his back. Right. Sorry about that. One last... Oh, the opening now. Sorry, I'm muting the background music. Whoosha! Oh, so good. Oh. No matter how many times I hear this opening, Gurenge, I love it. Is that really the end? Well, if this is just a black screen, I guess I'll skip this real quick and check if there's anything at the very end. If not, I'll see you guys after the ending. Hey, there is a little bit more after the ending. So let's just watch this together in 3, 2, 1, play. Coming of age arc concluded. Newsflash. Are they gonna announce the next season? That has to be it, right? Next arc! What did I say? Ladies and gentlemen, we are in business because we are getting a film adaptation of the next arc of Kimetsu no Yaiba. Hype! With that being said, though, to be honest, I'm kind of conflicted on this, right? Because while I would absolutely love to see the series continue to get more stuff adapted for and more content coming out, at the same time, a film/movie format is kind of awkward in. Number one, I'm not exactly in Japan, so it's going to be hard for me to actually watch it when it drops. And second of all, if I want to make a video on it, I'd also have to wait until the Blu-ray comes out, at least if I want to do it legitimately, right? So that's like, I don't know, however long it takes to make this movie and then add another 6 to 9 months to it. And by the way, I did check the homepage and whatnot, the website for the movie, and nothing has been announced yet in regards to dates. Now, with that being said, though, I guess some good things that will come out of it being a film adaptation is that, for one, the quality would be perhaps even better, and it would also be consistent all the way through, because that's typically how these things kind of work, right? And again, we're getting back the same cast, and perhaps more importantly, the same animation staff as well. It's still being made by Ufotable, so we can expect more or less the same quality. It's still going to be directed by Satozaki Haruo, so absolutely good there as well. And well, overall, I think it will, if not surpass, at least match the quality of the season as we've seen so far. Right, so stay tuned for that. Now, let's talk a little bit more about this episode, and maybe talk a little bit more at the end as to this season as a whole, right? So for this episode, obviously two big parts, right? One would be the part with Muzan and his lower six and whatnot, and the other part, I guess you could say, Tanjiro's farewell to everyone, right? And his interaction with Kanao, and I guess maybe throw in the last part for good measure, where our three musketeers embark on their new adventure, right? So first of all, the part with Muzan, and I love how, even though this is still kind of an awkward finale to me in terms of how they built it up as the final episode, but I feel like the Muzan scene within that strange dimension more than made up for the lack of an actual final epic battle, right? First of all, I am glad that we learn a little bit more about Muzan. We learn more about his character. We learn a little bit more about his powers and whatnot. And definitely, it's a little bit different from how we last saw him, right? Where he was calm, collected, and whatnot, and more. Well, I guess we did see an alleyway scene with him, but still, we know how ruthless and arrogant he is and whatnot, and that's great. That provides a lot of characterization to the big baddie, right? And honestly, though, the thing that I really want to talk about is the entire scene, the entire animation about that part, because that was stellar. I especially liked the very ending where they had all these doors closing and whatnot, and then threw the last surviving demon back into the real world. Like, I don't know, that was so good. That was so good. It's CGI, but still it was great. And so yeah, not really much else to talk about there. In terms of the farewell scenes and whatnot, well, we get to see Lady Killer Tanjiro go around stealing maidens' hearts, perhaps even Shinobu's heart as well, wink wink. But yeah, I guess, although honestly not really that much to talk about there as well. I will admit that maybe I didn't give him enough credit on being an honest person. I thought that he actually cheated that last coin toss or whatnot, but at the end of the day, I think what he says does make sense, right? He's more of the stubborn kind of character, so if it actually did not turn out the way that he wanted to see it, well, he's just gonna do it again, because nobody says that he can only do it once, right? So I thought that was nice there. And of course, at the very end, we got our usual humor between our three protagonists and whatnot, which, again, it's been a while, and I like that the humor is back between their interactions, although it actually kind of bugged me in regards to how fast Inosuke and Zenitsu got back on their feet and are apparently back to being normal again. But I'll talk more about that at the very end for the overall series review. So, and of course, ending it like that with the opening song, which is hype as heck, and then also the big reveal at the end with the I still can't remember the name of the flame Hashira. Ryugoku? Ryugoku? Never mind. I'm sure I'll remember once I see the actual film, right? Like, that was a great ending. They could have easily fizzled out, but no, I feel like they definitely kept the things going with lots of different unknowns, lots of different reveals and whatnot, and so that was a great conclusion to this season, right? So, let's talk a little bit more about this series as a whole. So, first of all, let's get the low-hanging fruit out of the way, and that would be the animation, right? So, I think nobody in their right mind would call this animation anything short of stellar, right? Like, on a personal level, this has been the best animation since Kimi no Na wa, Your Name. Which, and I'm basing this on, whether or not an anime can make me go, holy crap, this is some good animation, right? And, well, I guess take that with a grain of salt, because there has been some anime through these past 2 or 3 years that are also supposedly stellar, which I haven't watched yet, like Violet Evergarden, for example. But, the animation, the artwork here, I definitely feel is, 10 out of 10, S++++, something like that, right? So, but really, you can just watch for your own eyes. I don't need to expand too much on this. The sound to this, the music and whatnot. So starting from the opening song, Lisa's Gurenge, that was already my favorite openings, both in last season and this one. But not only that, all the music and background music that's being used within the episodes, within the series itself, is also stellar, right? It definitely fits the mood and what we see on screen as well. So it's basically a great visual audio experience, right? We're not only just seeing some very pretty, very flashy stuff, but we're also hearing some very nice tunes that goes along with what we're seeing on screen. So that part is also, I guess, kind of a low-hanging fruit because, well, it's just great, right? Like, what else do we need to say about that? In regards to the actual story and pacing, I'd say it's serviceable. It's serviceable, right? Like, at the end of the day, this is still a typical shonen show. We got the big baddie, the big evil baddie antagonist with his group of minions, and then we've got this heroes of justice. We got these secret organizations and whatnot that's going to protect humanity, protect the world and whatnot. We got our usual tropes of friends and family and so on and so forth. But at the that's that, right? There's nothing inherently wrong with this kind of formula. I will say, however, that perhaps I'm not quite that big a fan of them putting all these backstories at the time that they put them in, right? And I'm talking about the backstories of the various demons, how they were when they were human, how they descended into madness. So I absolutely get why they're trying to do this. They're trying to let us emphasize them a little bit more, and perhaps shift our feelings and beliefs a little bit more towards how Tanjiro views demons. But at the same time, though, I feel like, I don't know, it's like once we get to a demon's dying breath and then we see his flashback scene or whatnot, I'm just like, okay, sad story, cool story, bro. Sad for you, so what, right? I just feel like at that point in time, there's not really that much empathy I can give to them, if you guys get what I mean. So yeah, I don't know, maybe it would have been better if we could see it before we get into all the bad things that they're doing, or even before they're like literally on their last breath. But yeah, and I feel like some of the scenes were reused a little bit, especially during the training arc and some of the initial missions, right? But I'm not gonna knock it off too much points for that part. So overall, I just say that the story is serviceable and the pacing was okay. It was okay, right? And so that brings me to my last point, and which is really my biggest gripe about this season as a whole, and that is in the characters and character development, or more specifically for the lack of character development. Now, let me preface this by first saying that I absolutely understand that this is only a small part, like maybe 1/3 of the manga as it is right now. Perhaps further on down the line, the mangaka has some, some more better and more suitable times to develop all the different characters and whatnot. But since I'm judging just from these 26 episodes, I can only see and say, I can only say what I've seen so far, right? And that is the lack of character development. Tanjiro, episode 1 Tanjiro versus episode 26 Tanjiro, not really any changes at all, right? He's stronger, definitely, for sure, but how has he within as his personality, has it shifted in any kind of case? Has he grown up in some kind of case? Even though this was called the end of a coming of age arc, I don't really see where he exactly came of age, right? Like how exactly did he mature? You could say, some people will say, oh look, he knows how to flirt with girls now, or whatnot. But I would argue that that's something, the way that he treats them like sort of like younger sisters in a sort of way. That's the exact same thing as he was in episode 1, right? Not really much has changed about him. Inosuke and Zenitsu as well. So let's talk about Zenitsu first, right? Because I know he's a polarizing character. Some people really think he's annoying. Personally, for me, I like this style of humor. Up to a certain point, I like this type of over-the-top humor and whatnot. So even though I am also annoyed by Zenitsu at times, I feel like his contribution in terms of his humor outweighs the negatives of his annoyingness, right? So overall, Zenitsu is still a net positive for me. So I just like to get that out there. But even for those two, right, who are also some of the main characters of this anime or this work, don't really grow that much, right? Zenitsu, even though, sure, you can argue that, hey, he got the conviction, he got the courage from Tanjiro to stand up against the demon, but at the same time, we saw his flashback episode. We saw how he was already before, right? We've known that he would be able to have this conviction at any time, right? Well, I guess we can't really say that, but I'm just saying that it's just not enough, right? Especially since at the very end, it seems like he's just completely reverted. He doesn't show any kind of tendency where he maybe sort of gains a little bit more self-confidence, right? I'm not saying that within 26 episodes we're going to see him do a complete 180 and then become this super badass, full of confidence character, but still, at least it would be nice if we can, through even his normal, everyday interactions or whatnot, kind of see him, twisting towards that path, right? But Zenitsu, to me, is not the biggest culprit of this. The biggest one would actually be Inosuke, right? And I'm talking about this because we see him sort of like down in the dumps, right? He's lost all his self-confidence. He was pretty sure of his own abilities at first and whatnot, and that was his entire character since he first appeared, right? And then we saw that he kind of lost his mojo, and yet what exactly did he do to regain it, right? We see, the explanation currently given to us by the anime is that he's got this sort of rival mentality, right? He still wants to be better than Tanjiro, and so that's how he got himself out of it. But we don't really see much of it. And okay, so here's the thing. I actually thought that during this sort of rehab arc or training arc or whatnot, we're going to see sort of like a heart-to-heart between, or some soul-searching for Zenitsu and Inosuke, right? Like really truly thinking about what it is that they want to do for themselves, why they want to continue on this journey and whatnot, and why at the very end they decided to really throw themselves into this training once more and, join Tanjiro on the next mission. Right? So what are they actually thinking during this time? Is it just purely for friendship? At least for Inosuke, it's not. We can guess a lot of different things, right? Like it's the first time that he's gotten this kind of care or compassion from another person, and so he wants to maybe repay it in some sort of way, or maybe it's still just a pure rivalry. He still wants to sort of prove his worth to Tanjiro and whatnot, but I would have enjoyed it a lot more if they did some more things with their characters, right? And that goes for all of the different characters that were shown, especially at the very end, where obviously we don't have enough time, so we got, literally all the Hashira, all the pillars, and we got the master and all that, and we don't really know much about them. But those I can sort of, put aside, because they are literally just here for 1 or 2 episodes. But for the rest, I wish they would have shown a little bit more character development there. So again, I understand that probably, maybe, the manga has done some other different stuff in terms of character development for down the road. So if that is the case, then we'll see, right? We'll see. Same with Nezuko as well, right? So, does he really show any character development? We've already seen her basically being, this sister that loves her big brother from the first episode. That hasn't really changed 26 episodes later, right? She's gotten more powerful. She's gotten more abilities to use. But, protecting her brother, protecting other humans, we've known about her personality trait of this since episode, 2 or 3, right? So yeah. About the only character I would say that I feel like I kind of see the character development being shown here would be Shinobu, actually. We saw her when she was young, and then we see her as she is now, putting on a completely different personality and aura than what she was while she was young, and then through her conversation and dialogue with Tanjiro, we can see that she's opening up again and perhaps going to show or reveal more of her true self, right? So that part was something that I really liked. But of course, due to time constraints and whatnot, we didn't really actually see it happen. Right. So, yeah. Now, it's been 15 minutes now, and I feel like, or actually, no wait, it's almost 17 minutes, and I feel like I should make a sort of kind of conclusion, right? So, with all that being said, at the end of the day, I still really enjoy this anime. And really, I feel like that's all media is supposed to do, right? Like, not every single work needs to be, completely in-depth and, have this kind of development, that kind of development. It has to have a great story, it has to have lots of twists at the end or whatnot. It doesn't necessarily need to be like that, right? But I'm just saying that for me right now, this feels more like a summer blockbuster in terms of movies. We get this cool action, we get car chases, we get explosions and whatnot. So it's just great to look at, right? Whether or not it actually has some more oomph to it to turn it into something that's not just all, guns and explosions and whatnot, I'm looking forward to it. I am definitely looking forward to see if it turns out to be more than that. And for those of you who do follow manga, and whatnot, if this is the case and they do a great job in regards to story, in regards to character development in the future, then that's all and well, right? But I'm just looking at this from an anime perspective, at least for now, and so I do hope that it will prove me wrong in the future. So there we go. That was my review of Kimetsu no Yaiba episode 26 and this season as a whole. Hope you guys like this. Feel free to check out my other works as well. I must say I'm not that much of a hype reactor. Kimetsu no Yaiba, due to its its content, I don't think anybody can really stay calm when they see some of the more epic battle scenes here. But I typically like to talk a little bit more, especially during the review parts, in terms of, sort of guessing how the story is going to go, maybe some important concepts, or philosophical questions or whatnot, or providing some, I don't know, some references either to real life or whatnot that the anime or work in question might have had. So if that's something that you guys do kind of enjoy, feel free to check out my other works. If not, well, all the power to you, right? And at the very least, it was a nice 26 episodes of time that we spent together. So, hope I see you guys next time. If not, that's fine as well. But in any case, have fun, stay safe, and this is Maverick signing off.